HarperCollins presents Sidney Sheldon's The Phoenix by Tilly Bagshaw. Read by Laurence Bouvard. Prologue. Outside Athens, Greece. From the terrace of his elegant whitewashed villa, former President Dimitri Mantsaris gazed out across Vouliameni Beach to the clear blue waters of the Mediterranean Sea. He was an old man now, and vastly fat, gorging himself daily on cheese and wine and baklava, the sweet honeyed treats he'd always loved, but had resisted as a younger man, back when his greed was at war with his vanity. At 80 years old, that war was over. The last vestiges of his good looks were long gone now, along with his political career. All the urges that had once driven and defined him, his naked lust for power, his insatiable sexual drive, his legendary avarice, had crumbled to dust, like the walls of the Parthenon. Eating was Dimitri Mantsaris's last remaining pleasure of the flesh, and he indulged it without restraint. But not today. Today, for the first time in decades, Dimitri Mantsaris had no appetite. Stavros Alexandris, his former Minister of the Interior and close friend, had brought him the picture this morning, on the third page of EFY, Greece's top-selling daily newspaper. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Stavros Alexandris's hands were shaking. A sprightly 60, and as wirily thin as his former boss was obscenely fat. Alexandris had a reputation for both ruthlessness and calm. At this moment, however, the latter quality had deserted him. You don't think... She's still alive? Mantsaris finished for him. God, I hope so. Athena Petridis, his nemesis, his conspirator, his muse, his angel, his betrayer. Except Athena had never been his. Athena Petridis had never been anyone's, not even her husband's, the truly evil Spiros Petridis. Like her immortal namesake on Mount Olympus, Athena had condescended from time to meddle in the affairs of men, but only when it pleased her, and only ever for her own ends. Dimitri Mantsaris had been president, the most powerful man in Greece at the time of their affair, and yet not for one day, not for one moment, had he held the upper hand in their relationship. Athena Petridis had owned him the way other lesser women might own a dog. She still owned him, even though she and her husband had been dead for 12 years. Mantsaris looked at the picture again. It showed a tragic but sadly all too familiar image of a drowned child, a little boy this time, washed up on the beach at Lesbos. With hopelessly overcrowded boats leaving Libya every day, Greeks were becoming indifferent to the relentless death toll of the migrants. In many places, in fact, attitudes had swung right through indifference to anger and resentment. Why did these people keep coming? Why did they put their own children at such appalling risk? Didn't they know that Greece could barely afford to feed her own people, let alone open her doors to thousands of foreigners? Dimitri Mantsaris did not share these views. The picture still moved him. He was not, despite what many believed, a man without heart. Yet it was not the dead boy that stirred such profound emotion within him now. It was the insignia tattooed on his heel, like a slave brand. The ancient Greek letter, L. To scholars, this was the sign of the Spartan warrior, emblazoned on their shields in tribute to their home state of Laconia. But to Dimitri Mantsaris, along with many of the world leaders of his generation, the sign had a very different meaning. It was the secret personal signature of Spiros Petridis, an illiterate peasant from Lagonisi, who also happened to be both Athena's husband and the most successful organized crime boss since Carlo Gambino. It must be a hoax, Stavros Alexandris babbled nervously. Dimitri Mantsaris.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?